Today's What If episode deviates a little from what I do normally. Rather than create conceptually new cards that have yet to make it into the Digimon trading card game, what about keywords? There are already so many keywords that help shorten what effects do. Blocker, for example, allows you to suspend a Digimon that has it and redirect the attack to it. Security Attack +1 allows you to get one extra security check. But more than 14 sets later, there are still some new keywords being added to this day. Collision is the newest keyword that has been introduced with Sheepmon and in some ways is a reverse raid. But instead of switching attack target to a Digimon with the highest DP, all of your opponent's Digimon gain blocker and then they are forced to block. While this is useful if your opponent only has one Digimon, if they have multiple, they get to choose who eats the attack. That aside, today's What If episode looks at how keywords can be used to shorten existing effects, and some of them are quite a missed opportunity. The first one I would like to go over are search effects. You have cards like Agumon that can reveal the top 4 cards of the deck, reveal a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and a Tamer with Taikamiya. Afterwards, you bottom deck the rest. At this point though, I'm surprised we haven't seen these types of effects shortened. My current proposal to save text on cards would be to use a keyword like search X. In the world of the internet, searching is frequently used to find whatever it is you may be wanting, and X being the number of cards you look at. But now, you may be wondering why search exactly. With search for, you reveal the top 4, then have text based on the conditions of what you can add. Then, the keyword for search is to place it on the bottom. But what about other cards that can reveal and have other destinations? Don't worry, I thought about that too. Browse could be another keyword that gives you the option to put the cards on top or bottom. When you're browsing in a library, for example, this gives you more flexibility on where you put the book back. But now you may be asking, what about trashing cards? Optimize would be the last one. In thinking about what you do for trashing cards, optimizing a system sometimes takes the best part of something and then deletes the rest. So with Analog Youth, for example, it'd say on play, optimize 3, add 1 Digimon card, with the rest of the text being assumed to be trashing the rest. Now keep in mind, these kinds of keywords aren't perfect since there are Digimon like Dracmon that technically do both. But besides reducing the amount of text on cards, these are the next keywords that were a missed opportunity from Bandai. Number 1. Slide Evolution. This one is a fairly simple one considering that this type of keyword would mainly be used with hybrids. Don't get me wrong, it's fine to have the humanoid and beast spirits have the black box text, but keywording it as Slide Evo 1 Agunimon would have been a nice touch of flavor versus Digivolve from Aguni for 1 from Burning Greymon. You might think I'm picky, but I don't know. I kinda like it when aspects of the show are sprinkled into cards with not just the art, but effect as well. Number 2. Biom Merge. This is another missed opportunity by Bandai that frankly has me a little disappointed. Don't get me wrong, the way Bandai tackled Gallantmon with Takato and BT12 seemed right, but the biggest disappointment of all was the lack of an inheritable effect for Takato. Seriously, I know you could make the argument that only hybrids and their tamers have inheritables, but how do you differentiate between Digimon Seekers with Mind Blinking? It's pretty much the same concept. For this, I also felt that requiring the other Digivolution sources was unnecessary, seeing as you have other Digimon like Agumon, Gabumon, and even Impmon who don't have those types of requirements. But overall, Biom Merge 3 Gallantmon would have sufficed that you're utilizing Takato Matsuki with Guilmon in order to go into Gallantmon for 3 memory. Number 3. Warp Digivolve. While we're on the topic of Biom Merging, I'm honestly surprised that there isn't a keyword for Warp Digivolving. Maybe you have a Warp X Digimon effect where it allows you to Warp Digivolve for X memory from said Digimon. It's always interesting to see where Bandai puts the Warp effect on, considering it initially started with Guilmon back with Starter Deck 7, and now we have War Greymon from BT14. But as always, I saved the best keyword for last. Overclock was an early concept effect that I had in mind for what Bandai would do with Blast Digivolution. One huge difference though is that they aren't reactive effects on your opponent's turn. If there's one thing I fondly remember as a child watching Digimon was the fact that every time one of the Digidestined's Digimon Digivolved, there'd be a brief fight and then a big finisher move that would result in their victory before they de-Digivolved. Overclock was my concept in that your Digimon might Digivolve into this Digimon when your Digimon attacks and triggers a specialized effect that is stupid powerful. End of attack, the entire stack is deleted, and then you hatch an egg. The example here would be from Digimon the movie, where Greymon gets up one last time and gives off one Mega Flame before disappearing. Now normally in the TV show that Greymon attack would have reverted him to Koromon, which is why the egg hatching comes into play. As for its when digivolving effect, maybe it deletes a Digimon with the highest DP. Then end of attack, it yeets and hatches an egg if you don't have one in play. To some degree, this effect and or keyword might have been a little much, considering it might be a little more busted with level 6s and 5s with certain Digimon protection. But all in all, I think there are quite a number of keywords that Bandai has missed opportunity-wise. And the reasoning why it was missed is fairly obvious. Not everyone has watched Digimon from the beginning, and in order to accommodate for newer players not familiar with the franchise or even the next generation tuning in for the first time, it is reasonable. But for me, I want maximum flavor. What are your thoughts on some of these keywords? And which ones would you love to see adapted? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. This is DigiPanda, logging out.